Alright, so here we have the heavyweight of Apple's iPhone lineup from last year versus the colorful S24 Plus from Samsung's newest lineup of flagships. And today we're going to pit the two against each other to see which phone might be the one for you. So let's get straight into it. Hey, what's good? Prash here with my take on the iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the Samsung Galaxy S24 Plus. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to save you all some time and tell you that, for me, the S24 Plus took the win. Wow, I'm glad we were able to sort that out in, well, less than a minute. Now, for those who are on the fence about the two and needed a little extra validation, well, there you have it. You've got my blessing. Now, for those who actually want to get into the nitty-gritty details of why the S24 Plus, for me, actually took the win, let's start off with the design. Starting with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I think the iPhone 15 Pro Max has the slightly better looking design, emphasis on slightly. I like how the camera module melts into the body of the phone. That being said, I also dig the way the sensors on the S24 Plus float in space, a very minimalist attempt from Samsung. You also get the newer boxier design from the S24 Plus with a completely flat screen. And it's funny how Samsung this time around has the more understated design cues as opposed to Apple, when historically it's been the other way around. Samsung definitely took a lot of design cues from the previous Apple lineup, and it's quite obvious here. Now, while aesthetically the iPhone 15 Pro Max takes it, functionality-wise, I found the S24, which has a slimmer, lighter body, to be easier to use and hold for longer periods of time than the 15 Pro Max, which has a slightly wider body. I've honestly never liked this form factor from Apple, especially with the Pro Max line of phones. So when it comes to design, I'd say it's an even draw for both. Now, let's talk about performance. Alright, so both phones perform brilliantly and offer users a buttery smooth performance for games, media consumption, and general usage. No matter which phone I used, I found the performance pretty much spot on. The S24 Plus does offer 12 gigs of RAM, 4 more than the Pro Max, which sits at 8 gigs. And while this is plenty for the smooth UI on the iPhone, the S24 Plus does offer better multitasking features that really help you make the most out of its crazy performance. And so for this reason, I'm going to have to hand it to the S24 Plus on this one. Although I will mention that the UI of the iPhone is still cleaner than the S24 Plus. And in saying this, I will give a shout out to Samsung here for really improving their One UI. Definitely an improvement over the S23 Plus. Alright, screen-wise, you already know Samsung takes the cake here. They've set the industry standard for a while now, and the S24 Plus spoils you for choice with the Quad HD Plus feature on this stunning AMOLED panel that just looks absolutely unreal. Great viewing angles all around. It is just a pleasure to use this screen. I will add that the 15 Pro Max is no slouch either, with a great OLED panel that also performs well for media consumption, which funnily enough are also made by Samsung. So you already know Samsung isn't just going to hand Apple their best stuff. Now, while the screen on the S24 Plus is crispier, it does lead to a downside in the battery department. Alright, so the battery life on both of these devices have been pretty similar. Both can get you up to 2 days with moderate to heavy usage. But one thing I found is that the iPhone 15 Pro Max is able to consistently outperform the S24 Plus. And this is solely because the better display on the S24 Plus. You see, both phones can operate at 120Hz for fluid gaming and UI performance. But because of the bump up in resolution that the S24 Plus offers in Quad HD Plus mode, which I always have turned on, it really does impact the battery life. And I'll be honest, that trade-off for a higher resolution, more crisp display is honestly worth it in my opinion. But because I always have the setting on, because it's available to me, the iPhone 15 Pro Max definitely edges out the S24 Plus in the battery department. Alright, now let's talk about cameras. The 15 Pro Max flaunts a 48 megapixel f1.8 wide lens, a 12 megapixel f2.8 telephoto, and a 12 megapixel f2.2 120 degree ultra wide. Additionally, it also has a LiDAR sensor to aid with AR and low light photography. And up front, you get a 12 megapixel f1.9 wide selfie cam. Now the S24 Plus has a 50 megapixel f1.8 wide sensor with optical image stabilization, a 10 megapixel f2.4 telephoto, a 12 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide with steady video as well, and up front you get a 12 megapixel f2.2 wide. Both phones have a similar setup up front and back, and honestly both do a great job at getting shots outdoors with plenty of light. Focus is quick on both with plenty of detail captured from either device. Photos on both phones also have solid dynamic range. Post-processing is also responsible with exposure. Now the iPhone will give you the more true-to-life shots as colors are more accurate, while the Samsung will give you shots that pop a little more with that saturated and contrasty look that we've come to expect from Samsung. I honestly prefer the shots from the Samsung because I like my colors to pop, but it really comes down to personal preference here. It is safe to say that from these samples, you should get an idea of the kind of shots that each phone produces and what you like more. Low light photography is interesting on both these phones, mainly because of how each phone utilizes its hardware and computational photography to get the job done. The iPhone makes use of the lidar scanner to aid in low light photography by inputting additional data to aid in the computational photography, while the Samsung now uses AI Blackmagic to aid in its low light shots. I'll be honest, I was a skeptic, but I'm gonna have to give it to the S24 Plus in this department, as it consistently outputted the best low light photos, even in some scenarios where there was practically no light sources. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on the S24 Plus versus the 15 Pro Max? And well, you pretty much already know what my decision was within the first minute of this video, so there really isn't much else to say. Both phones will offer you a great user experience, whether that's the performance for gaming or media consumption, the cameras, and even the battery life. I will also note that the 15 Pro Max has a huge advantage of being part of Apple's ecosystem, and I'm not gonna lie here, that is a very convenient and effective ecosystem to be part of, especially if you've got some AirPods, a MacBook. You're pretty much good to go, as any photos or video you take can easily be airdropped to your laptop for post-production. So yeah, it is a very convenient ecosystem to be in. But for the sake of this video and just the standalone phones, my winner was the S24 Plus. So this has been my take on the comparison between the S24 Plus and the 15 Pro Max. I hope you all took away something from this video. Like, subscribe, and comment down below what you thought of these two devices. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, for now, it looks like we're out of time. Till we meet again.